ESPN's FPI, and we've already talked about how the ESPN FPI cannot be gospel, but it is now predicting the BYU Cougars at 12-0, or at least to be favored in every game they play for the rest of this college football season. Now, the Cougars got a 27-3 win over Stanford this week, and you could say that it wasn't very impressive because they were playing Stanford, who's effectively an FCS school, and I could give you that, but they only allowed 3 points. I think the only thing you could do better than that is allow less than 3 points. Like you did defensively what you were supposed to do. And from here, the way their schedule actually shakes out, there is Texas Tech, Iowa State, and a home game night game against TCU, home game night game against Utah. Those are going to be tough. The rest of it's kind of a cakewalk, and ESPN has predicted them to win every game, even the games on the road.
Yeah, I don't know how they beat Iowa State on the road. Like, come on, man. I don't know how they do that.
Iowa State.
Bear Bachmeier was 182 total yards. Like
50% chance, 50.2% chance for BYU to win.
What do they like about that? They just like BYU's defense that much.
Well, it's the craziest part.
They got a good defense, but
is this computer hates all things Big 12. ESPN's FPI. It's like, oh, if you're in the Big 12, we don't like you, unless you're
Big 12. Yeah,
unless you're BYU. And genuinely, it may be the defensive metrics that make this so appealing for the computer. But I mean, yeah, they brought back a lot. Jack Kelly's a game changer defensively. I thought LJ Martin has been a game changer as a running back. And overall, BYU has looked as probably as good as they should, with a true freshman starting quarterback who missed spring ball.
Yeah, like there's nothing I can knock them on so far, right? Like, they beat an awful Stanford team, but it's like they beat them by 24 points. They held them to 3. Like you said, it's like, how can I nitpick that?
It's the Houston effect a bit there, where you're like, the offense didn't blow me away, but also if the defense doesn't allow the other team to score, I can't be mad at this university.
Which to be fair, I mean, we're using that for Texas, we're using that for Georgia. We're using it for Clemson, right? So it's not like, hey, we're just using this against Big 12 teams we don't like. But yeah, I don't see how they're beating Iowa State. And we've talked about this before, and I got to be careful in how I talk about this because we both agree BYU's an awesome atmosphere, atmosphere to play.
Again, you and I were at that Baylor game in 22. I think it was. And I still to this day, I've been to Tuscaloosa. I've been across the SEC. It's the number one atmosphere that I've seen. It's the loudest that I've seen.
But like this game, October 18th, like Utah plays in a pretty good atmosphere too.
Yeah. I mean,
and if that game's at 2:30 and not 8:30 or 9,
there's no way the game's at 2:30. The bane of my existence is having to stay up until 2 a.m. because either BYU or Utah are playing.
So you don't think it's going to be you want it to be at 2:30?
They're going to play this game at midnight. They are going to play genuinely midnight Eastern.
Okay, so Utah, though, I don't think they're totally bothered by that environment. They're one of the other Big 12 schools that does play in a pretty good environment week to week. The other one, because this one I don't think will be automatically at midnight, they're hosting TCU. You've been impressed by TCU. I've been impressed by TCU. I think North Carolina, though, is probably comparable to Stanford. I think they're both pretty bad. Yeah. I don't think TCU is terribly worried about going into that environment.
Wow.
I don't. I know. And look, this is after one game from them. But I think TCU's offense is legit. I think Josh Hoover's legit. They had struggles away from home last year, so maybe that does rear its ugly head again. All I'm saying is, like, out of those two, I think they're 1-1 in those big home games. I don't think it automatically means they're going to win every home game. It's not like Mississippi State. Let's just say that. Mississippi State plays at home, they're beating anybody. That's what I've heard. I see BYU being better than they should be this year because of the inexperience at the quarterback position. But I don't see an 11-1.
Yeah,
I think that game at Tech is really tough.
FPI still doesn't love Texas Tech. BYU a 54% chance of victory on the road in Lubbock.
All right, so that's November. So it's November 8th. So let's say Tech is, how many weeks is that into the season? Let's say Tech 6-2.
Sure, yeah.
7-2. That's pretty good for Tech. And BYU's sitting there, 7-1 or something.
If they're undefeated according to ESPN, then that's I mean,
that favors BYU.
Yeah, here's
that becomes a big game for Tech at home. They'll lose. So
yes, but also
that's what favors them.
Take this into account. BYU was undefeated last year and lost to Kansas, and then lost to Arizona State. Or those were back-to-back losses, I should say, and took them out of the Big 12 championship. They'll win against ECU, Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona.
They'll win all of those.
It's going to be 6-0 against Utah. We could see College Game Day come to the Holy War. It'd be awesome.
God, that'd be fantastic.
That's where it gets hairy, but the home games, BYU just loves to win at home. It's the road game it's road game at Iowa State, road game at Texas Tech, and there's a bye week between that. Then talk about a soft landing, Cincinnati and UCF to end your season.
Yeah, so if we're saying BYU 6-0, sure, I'll buy that stock. BYU 8-0, no.
Here's why ESPN's FPI likes them so much. This is per GameOnPaper.com. Their net EPA. So this is your efficiency. This is where I judge. When I go to make bets on college football, I judge you by your efficiency. EPA is a huge stat.
How much more likely you are to score than your opponent, basically, is a net EPA.
Yep. So their EPA is number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
They are the most efficient team literally in America right now in college football. This is not a subjective thing either. This isn't plug a bunch of stuff that I thought of in my brain into a computer. No, it's your efficiency numbers based off of your statistics and deep analytics. Tied for 11th in offensive success in the country, 10th in pass. They're tactical.
I know, but you do need to take the context and
sure,
this stuff.
They're not deadly. They're but that's where efficiency gives you context. You can be efficient in losses. You can be efficient against number 1 or efficient against number 133. That's where EPA helps you out a little bit more than everything else. They're the number 1 rush defense in the country.
Yeah.
Number 5 overall defense, and their net EPA per drive is number 2 in America.
Their defense should keep them in every game. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean,
they shouldn't. I think they will lose to Iowa State. I think that's a foregone conclusion based on what we know of these teams right now. But will they lose by 3 touchdowns? I really doubt it. I don't expect that.
Man, I don't think TCU is going to come into. I don't think TCU is going to see another atmosphere like this all year. Like the one they're
not at home. Yeah,
Lavelle Edwards. So when you're like, they're ready for it. I don't know. There was just so maybe I'm thinking they just put so much into that first game, and I'm not going to sit here and say North Carolina is equal to Lavelle Edwards, but there was so much hype put into that game, and you knew all the bright lights are going to be there, and they just took care of them. They just absolutely worked him in that game. That's why I'm thinking they're not going to be totally bothered, and they're going to come in there with a ton of confidence at that point. I think TCU's a real good team. I think they'll make a run at this thing. We could see Josh Hoover and Sawyer Robertson. We're talking about when TCU and BYU square off.
I can't wait.
Are those 2 guys going to New York?
Yeah, that's going to be.
Well, obviously we'll see them play, which is going to be awesome. But I'm saying we could be talking about after that. This is after I believe BYU or after TCU and Baylor play themselves. We're still probably talking about both those quarterbacks as Heisman.
So interesting note, by the way, on TCU, looking up their schedule and where they play, their 2 toughest road games before BYU have, I think, gotten significantly less tough. Those would be Arizona State and Kansas State. Those are ones where all of a sudden that's not an 8 p.m. kickoff. That's not maybe not even a sellout.
College football on the CW, baby.
It's not exactly the billing that it was. So I don't know if it's going to be the atmosphere. So you're probably right in that respect that'll be the first big atmosphere that they play in. I mean, they go to West Virginia a couple weeks before. They almost got College Game Day, West Virginia.
Close. Darn close. This has been It Always Will Be. That's Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. Locked On. Thanks for making this your first listen every single day. It's Crossover with Baylor and Dose Grande.